Hey there guys, SaintsKnight here, welcoming you guys back to the channel here with another episode of the F1 show, of course. And today we are going to be looking at the 2018 Singapore Grand Prix, which honestly was it was a bit of a dull one. Well, not much in terms happened, but what did happen was actually quite interesting. So this one's kind of a mixed bag, really. So as usual in our F1 videos, we're going to be talking about the qualifying, the race, and how the points are stacked for the World Championship after the race. So anyways, without further ado, let's cut through the... Actually, let's just dive. Ladies and gentlemen, if you do want to keep seeing the F1 show on the channel, you know what to do. Don't forget, smash the thumbs up button. So without further ado, let's take a look at the qualifying. Now, qualifying was an interesting one because... You know what? Let's get up the chart here, and Lewis Hamilton once again is on pole with a time of 1 minute 36.015, which is pretty impressive, especially since Singapore street circuit is actually very technical, very complex, and very difficult to actually go through without a few crashes, which I think one of the Ferraris actually managed to do during practice, but that goes to show how complicated the track is. If a Ferrari can somehow actually can't avoid a mishap, then you know that it's like a really complex circuit. And thankfully, good news for Red Bulls, actually. My boy, Max Verstappen, as you can see here, second, but only, if you can see here, slower by 0.319 seconds, which, gotta give it to Verstappen. I saw it a lot, but it was actually very, very impressive. Now, which goes to show that Verstappen is actually going very, very well, actually. Despite Red Bull not having their ups and downs. And of course, a Ferrari, and lastly, a Ferrari actually completing the 1, 2, 3 lineup. That would be Sebastian Vettel with a time of 1 minute 36.628. Decent lap time, given this. But I felt like Ferrari could have done better, and they would have if they actually got the track figured out before actually going onto it. And now for the race. Now the race, I'll be honest, I thought that Singapore was actually going to be one of the exciting ones, like Monaco, Baku. Reason why? Street circuit, tight, weak corners and everything. Which, whilst it wasn't the most exciting race on the 2018 season, a lot of them are actually more exciting. For example, Monza, Spa, Azerbaijan, Bahrain, China. All those ones are actually very exciting. Whereas with this, let's get out the chart. It wasn't really an uneventful one. On the first lap, it certainly didn't seem that way. Because it wasn't really the best race for Force India, if we're being honest. Now, the reason for that is simple. Because on the first lap, Esteban Ocon got put out by his teammate, of all people, Sergio Perez, by colliding with, by forcing the Force India, get it, of Ocon by Perez into one of the walls, so he inadvertently got put out there, which in turn triggered a safety car, which started on the first lap, and that ended, I think, either lap 5 or 6 or something like that. But and whilst that was happening, on the 27th lap, future Ferrari and Red Bull drivers, Charles Leclerc and Pierre Gasly, were actually in a really intense battle, which I gotta give it to them. Both drivers really good, and I just want to talk about the fact that it's nice to see the teams are actually using their youth programs for good, like Ferrari hiring Leclerc, replacing Raikkonen, putting him in Sauber. Gasly, putting and Red Bull getting Danny Ricciardo after him being signed on to Renault, putting him in Red Bull, a good idea, and actually very deserved for both drivers. But anyways, and if you thought that that was the last of Perez's problems, no. In fact, Perez in fact, on the 34th lap, Sergio Perez actually had a little bit of an incident with the Williams of Sergei Sorokin after, after an intense battle, which led Perez to actually turn, I think deliberately, into Sorokin, which gave Perez a puncture, and I don't think a penalty was given, but if we look down here where he placed, maybe that's why they didn't think to actually enforce the penalty. But speaking of penalties, Romain Grosjean was actually given a 5-second penalty, which, if you don't know, a 5-second penalty is basically where the driver has to go into the pits and stay there 5 seconds longer before being allowed to go out. He got a penalty after ignoring blue flags which a blue flag is basically a faster car is coming towards you, pull to the side of it in order for it to go past, which Grosjean didn't let, which it was like Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, and he didn't let any of those two pass, which let them have a battle on their own, which was an interesting one. As well as that, Sergei Sorokin was also given a 5-second penalty after forcing the Haas of Romain Grosjean off. Actually, it wasn't a Haas; it was a Toro Rosso of Pierre Gasly forcing him off the track, because I think it was that Gasly actually braked too late into a corner, and before he could actually go back onto the track and correct them, I think Sergei Sorokin actually thought he was going to overtake him, so he blocked him, which meant because he didn't know he was off track, forced him off. But anyways, overall though, Lewis Hamilton ended up winning the race, coming first, and my boy Max Verstappen doing very well. Started in second, still finished in second. Very good result. Well done, Max. You're finally giving Red Bull the spirits they need. And Vettel have a really disappointing race. Ended up finishing in third, which it wasn't really a good race for Ferrari in general, but it was still interesting. It was still a good race for Vettel nonetheless. Now, anyways, how does this affect the driver standings? Well, let's bring up the chart, shall we? Lewis Hamilton actually as you can see here, Hamilton extending his lead over Sebastian Vettel by 40 points, which means that Hamilton is on 281 and Vettel is on 241. Meanwhile, in the land of Red Bulls, Max Verstappen giving himself a very good 20 points. Bringing his point total up to 148 in 5th place, just 23 points behind the Mercedes of Valtteri Bottas. Overall though, the Singapore GP was actually a good one. It was very entertaining. A lot of good driving out there, I must say. A lot of good driving, a lot of penalties, and a lot of good demonstration of the young drivers, meaning Pierre Gasly, Charles Leclerc, and all them ones. It's showing them that they have good potential. And if you don't watch Formula 2, Formula 3, even like Lando Norris, who is actually one of McLaren's test drivers, going to McLaren, which next year should be a really interesting year, whereas finally FIA, F1 and all the other teams are actually finally given young people, like young drivers, the chance to actually earn their keep. So those are our thoughts. So that is my thoughts about the Singapore Grand Prix. What did you think about it? Whatever your thoughts, whatever your opinions on this entire season, leave them in the comments down below. And apart from that, I'm afraid it's now time to end today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy that. If you did, please do me a huge favor. Smash the thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and if you are not new, then do not forget to click the bell icon next to the subscribe button to get notified on all of our upcoming videos. And apart from that, guys, we will see you in the next video. So until then, guys, it's your boy SaintsKnight here, signing off.